Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Game Hub. I'm your host GamerK, and this is the final video for the month of March 2025, and I'm going out on a high note. 9 years ago, I was decimated. The Mario and Luigi game series released its worst game ever, being Paper Jam. I tried playing it. But then I opted to watch the game, and it was just so bad. And then, worst comes to worst, AlphaDream shut down productions. And I had to say goodbye to one of my favorite RPG series. Until now! Last year, they released The Return of the Mario Brothers, Mario and Luigi Brothership. This is the only Switch game I own because I had to buy it, and luckily it was during the holidays and E was nice enough to loan me the Switch so I can play this amazing journey. And oh my god. Oh, my head hurts because of how amazing this was. I watched nothing from the game, from walkthroughs, from reviews. IGN's stupid review that obviously points that they never finished the game. I know I'm late for Mario Day. I know, but I set this in advance. But Mario and Luigi Brothership brought back the thrill of the brothers' adventures outside of the Mushroom Kingdom. Because this is now the third game where they did not stay in the Mushroom Kingdom at all. We're in a completely new world, completely new characters, new threats. And it's an adventure that is honestly one of the best in the series. Oh my god. So let's set sail as I go through this amazing return. So, again, this game is... I never thought I was going to see Mario and Luigi in a video game ever again. You know, outside of like the party games and the racing games and all that stuff. But to have the RPGs back, it was amazing. And especially since last year I finally beat Partners in Time for the very first time. I was young back then when it came out. I sucked at these games, so it was bad. But my cliff notes on this are erratic because I was so excited to play this game. Mario and Luigi being sucked in through a vortex, and a whole bunch of other characters. Toads, Peach, Starlo. Thankfully, I love Starlo. She is a fantastic character. And at the same time, obviously Bowser and his minions joined the party later, thankfully. So, the entirety of Brothership is reconnecting bonds and reconnecting bits and pieces of the island of Concordia. Where after a big event happened, the Unitree... Yeah, there's a lot of wordplay in this game, so if you don't like wordplay puns, you're in for a ride. As we help Connie, who is a socket person, which, again, I love the design of the socket people. Like, all of them are so unique with their looks, but they still look like they belong in this world. And I love the design and the beauty of this art style and everything in this. And it's not just the people that are interesting. You'd think them being like sockets, there would be a lot like city or electrical themed locations, but there's not. There's a whole bunch. Like, these are just people and they look like this, and they have regular worlds like the rest of us. And Snoutlet being a hilarious addition. That stupid briefcase from Partners in Time doesn't quite up stack to where Starlo and Dreambert were, But Snoutlet is a ham of a character, and I love him. But again, starting off quick, separated from Luigi right from the get-go, we connect the islands in a very fun way. There's a light tower, there's a lighthouse at every single island. We gotta, it's kind of the traditional song and dance with these kinds of structures. We land on a new location. We help the locals out with whatever problems are affecting them and also affecting our hindrance. And then we solve them. We get a boss fight here and there. And yeah, we just connect the light, connect it back to our new Brothership, which is the island. Again, that is just in the shape of a ship with a giant unitree in the middle as the sails. And it's just good writing. And we go throughout the vast oceans as the islands were separated and reconnect them. And one thing I do freaking love is that after you connect an island and it shows us dragging it, all the islands we've connected are here. So I do, and even when you stop playing and come back later, the main screen will show you how many islands you've connected already and where you are in the story. Because as you get to the final, the ambiance changes and it's fantastic. Again, I can't stop talking about the simplicity of this story. Like, new world, new characters, rebuilding their world, done. But there's also a lot of intrigue and mystery and humor in this game, as the Mario and Luigi series is known for. And so, getting down to a lot of the basic structure of Brothership. Is the game perfect? Yeah, pretty close. The combat heavily improved with the amazing 3D graphics that we all know and love from the Mario from the RPG Mario and Luigi. Combat is exceptionally well done now with the better timing and kind of implements a lot of the multiple hits kind of thing that they had at the beginning with Superstar Saga, and with the highly improved abilities and attacks that the other Mario and Luigi games brought us forward. And some of the bros attacks that we get in the game are some of the most visually beautiful pieces of video game attacks I've seen in a long time. Obviously, we get the traditional, like, Fire Flower and the green and red shell, but then we get the amazing stuff. The crank to release a giant electric storm on the opponents. A stopwatch where Mario and Luigi go Sonic and hammer the point home on all the enemies. To a fire and ice tornado ability. I give Nintendo so much praise for the creativity within this game. Not just for the battles, not just for the character designs, but for the overall feel of it. And the difficulty goes really, really well with every single island and the levels of each enemy and boss showcasing itself. So if you're under-leveled, you're gonna be screwed over, and you're gonna, it's not much of a hindrance if you are doing your due diligence and frickin' leveling up as you go. Don't skip the enemies because you're tired of fighting them, because if you're really under-leveled at a certain spot, you're going to be cursing a lot. And one other thing I really love, the ingenuity, or should I say, the Luigi-nuity. Okay, yeah, even me saying that is kind of stupid. Luigi gets a lot more time in this, just like in Dream Team, where it does work well with the brothers. And Luigi, in the open world and in boss fights, he has these moments where he has to think logically on how to solve a problem. And there's one where it's it's right at the beginning on Rumbla Island. It's so stupid. It's so not video game. Like, you never, you know how, like, in old RPGs, when you have a party member and you're standing there and they're trying to walk through you and they're like charging through you, but they won't go around because it's not logic. Luigi takes logic to the new extent in this game, and it's hilarious of how simple the solutions he comes up with are. And it also showcases in the boss fights. Whenever a certain moment happens in the boss fights, Luigi will give you a moment to weaken the boss so you can start landing bigger hits. It's a much needed thing, considering a lot of these bosses, yeah, there are very rare times in these boss fights where you're going to beat them one shot on the first try. Trust me, and they're all well designed. You never feel like you're fighting the same boss twice, which again is good. Every single one of them, I have no issues with none of these bosses. I'll get to that when I get to that. Anyway, the bosses in this game, from the new extension core to some of the natives of this land, like Gorumbla, who, again, when you first watched the trailer of the game, you thought he was going to be with the villains, but no, it's just one of those island characters who you get a lot of great final, and then in each sea, because there's 4 seas in the game, you'll have the grand lighthouse of the area which will light our path to the next sea. Each one of those has a monster that is that is watching over the tower, and all three of them are unique and challenging. And again, like all the bosses and all the enemies, paying attention to their telegraphed moves, it's definitely something that you cannot cheese your way out of. Like all the RPG games in the series, every creature has their own tells and their own weaknesses and their own stats and everything. It just gives you that feeling. And again, some of the most amazing designs in the game, and some of them are also like the weirdest designs. Like in the desert level, there's a desert level. There's a fish with a shower head on it that turns into this like cutesy creature when it's hydrated, but then when it's dried out, it turns into this flimsy thing, and it's hilarious. Again, I give credit where credit is due for the designs. And that's just showcasing the boss fights, the combat, and all of that. There are so many side missions in this game that it's fun. And a good thing that they did is at key moments in the game, it will tell you on the screen that you need, when this icon shows up next to a side mission, do it quick, because the minute you advance further into the story, you will not be able to do that side mission until you replay the game again. And I took my diligence and did every single one of them. And yeah, some of them are kind of fetch questy and heavy on backtracking. But luckily there are the pipes from the Brothership to the many islands that you've already been through that will obviously speed up the backtracking and everything. But some of these quests, again, are very, very... Again, it's a lot, but it's not like it's all the time. Because as you go through a lot of the new islands, you'll forget about a lot of the side quests and a lot of the backtracking. So it's not that much of a problem where it's going to really ruin your experience playing the game. What else? Oh, yeah, there are a couple side missions, like getting the father and the fathers of the bride and groom in one location, which is the best fusion of a fire and ice level ever. And it's really well done. There's the scientist who has high level of modern enemies that you have to defeat in certain ways in order to do his research, and figuring out how to defeat the enemy is a lot of fun challenge-wise. So you really got to think about it. You can't just hammer them home. And again, I do love that. Going into the islands, there are a total of 16 main islands that you'll be going through. And they vary. Like a lot of Coins Island is this huge corporate CEO city. Well, it's not more of a city. It's more the building that you're in more than anything else. There's, again, Heat Freeze Island. And there's the obligatory only fire and only ice island, so to give a lot more diverse. There's this really dark, gloomy island where it's lightly lit up, which I do love the atmosphere of it, where you have to solve a caper while figuring out an issue. And then there's a lot of these smaller islands that you'll find, which are kind of abandoned, kind of like Castaway kind of island, where you'll find a lot of puzzles to get more coins, to get more items, farm for enemies, stuff like that. There's also, as you use the periscope during the traversal section, and I do like in the map, you actually have to traverse with the ship along the routes of the oceans in order to find all the islands, so it's not given to you right away. And through that, you will find a lot of reefs that have certain shapes about it, and once you find them all, they'll be recreated all around the Brothership, and a lot of them are a lot of throwbacks to a majority of the games, and I like that. So in total, there's 5 seas, 4 great lighthouses, because obviously the final area doesn't have one, 16 main islands, and again, full of diverse, interesting themes, and gives you really, really fun exploration and beautiful atmospheres. My only hindrance is it's not to like the later game where we do have to backtrack and find some characters on certain islands where there's not that much to do outside of just finding them and having like higher level enemies there, which I don't mind, but somewhat about the middle of the game, some of the islands get disconnected and we have to reconnect them again. And that doesn't happen like near the halfway mark of the game, which I'm okay with. If they did that like right from the start again, I would be a little pissed. But thankfully, it's only like 2 islands that get disconnected, so it's not that huge of an issue. Let's see, what else? Oh yeah, the entirety of the story is one of the best in the series. It's not overtly cliche, just a smidge with the right amount of something new and something interesting to keep you guessing for like a few seconds if you know anime, video games, or anything, and story building, but it's always interesting to figure it out. And I can happily say in this game, they throw everything they did with Superstar Saga, Partners in Time, Bowser's Inside Story, Dream Team, Paper Jam, and threw it out the window. Because, funny thing, so many different things happen in this game that when I was playing it, I was so sure they were going to go these cliches, but no. One thing, Peach isn't a fucking damsel. Yeah, when we find Peach She joins us on the Brothership. She sets off to join the idol group, which is these 4 kids who we find in the kind of like a deserted ruins city. And they are so much fun as they help out through the adventure. And it's really, really fun. They join Peach. And Peach is useful. Not once is she kidnapped. Okay, there's one section where we do kidnap. She is kidnapped. But that's because of our plan to find out where they're bringing people that the villains are stealing. They're kidnapping people. Or we could have chose Luigi, but doing that would leave you hindrance for a few bits of that level for enemy fights. So going with Peach is obviously the safer option. But Peach is never kidnapped in this game. Thank you. 5 games of her being kidnapped. Once in the start. Literally once in the start again. Halfway through. Well, actually not even halfway through in Bowser's Inside Story. Near the end. Right at the start in Paper Jam. But no, Peach, our beautiful damsel in distress, never gets kidnapped in this game by the extension core, by any crazy characters on an island, by Bowser. But Bowser, by the way, doesn't show up until halfway through. While he got on in this area, he takes over the 3rd sea area, which has like a few islands and a lot more of the smaller islands where he kind of built his territory. And he literally makes us the villains in one island, and it's honestly good sections for being sneaky and stealthy, which I didn't think I was gonna like. And we get Bowser Jr. having a good role in this story, where on this island he meets Buddy, who is one of the young socket people, and Bowser, BJ has a friend. Possibly one of the only friends. And I love the story about connections in this game, about being connected through love, through friendship, through camaraderie, through competitiveness, through idolization, through, again, friendship. And Bowser Jr. finally having a friend in this new world. Because, again, the minions aren't really friends. And Kamek, being the advisor, basically tells Bowser Jr. that, yeah, the minions do what Bowser says, but they respect him because he's their leader. And later in the game, seeing Bowser Jr. finally have a friend and it going somewhat bad, somewhat good later on, it took us all these games to get Bowser Jr. finally. Shut up, I'm not discussing you. And making him as important integral point of the game as any other character would. And I love that. And I hope this isn't BJ's first good outing in the RPG games. I said good outing, shut up! But even the Bowser being at the halfway mark, his boss fights are nothing to slouch about. His first boss fight has so many integral parts, so many amazing attacks that you will get sick to death of from having to replay it, but it's just the drive to beat him after getting knocked down so many times, and it's such a good thing. And the overall story, again, has moments that make you wonder, moments that say, oh, okay, this is what they're doing, to the end game where it absolutely mind fucks you with a character that is so out of left field, so crazy that it makes Fawful look like he's a literary professor. Yeah. I honestly don't know how to explain it outside of doing my characters list, which will be in the future. But yeah. So yeah, I talked about a couple things that they did in the previous games that they don't do here. Let's see, what is it? Bowser not working with the main villain for once in any capacity, and the final boss not being a Bowser carbon copy. No Schrouser, no Bowsette, no Dark Bowser, although Dark Bowser was absolutely the best out of the bunch. No Dreamy Bowser, no Paper Craft Bowser. Nothing to do with Bowser. You can count on one hand the number of times there has been any Mario game where Bowser is not the final boss. And technically those were, oh no, wait, Luigi's Mansion did have a Bowser suit, so I guess it counts. So two Luigi's Mansion games, and one Mario and Luigi game. 3 games where Bowser is not the main villain, the main boss, final boss. What is this? Like, everything in this game throws away our preconceptions about what we all thought this game was going to be about. Peach isn't a victim. Bowser doesn't show up till halfway through. The final boss has nothing to do with Bowser. Nothing. Instead, we get this VR freaky villain who wants to be alone, so he creates these flowers that trap the people in their perfect scenario. And seriously, if you've come this far and nothing what I say makes sense, go out and play this game. If you haven't already, you are missing out, people. Now, I've rambled a lot, but there are a couple things I do need to discuss. For example, unfortunately, one of my preconceptions was at the end of each island, we were going to be getting a boss fight. But, that's actually not the case, which I'm kind of upset about. Like, I mean, at the end of each sea, once you get to the Great Lighthouse, there is that obvious boss defending the tower. But, throughout the islands, we get very few bosses. And it's kind of weird. Like, Rumbla Island, a lot of Coins Island, Out of the Way Island, Way Out of Way Island, which is where Bowser's castle landed, which is really, really funny. Way out of the way. So I do like the humor there. Yeah, a lot of the, like, outside of the 3 lighthouses, a lot of the boss fights are kind of peppered here and there. So it's not consistent because we're dealing with the other with the troubles on the islands more than focusing on like the big monster that's scaring everyone, which I'm okay with. But at the same time, I kind of wish there was a couple more bosses again, like in some other sections. It's a small gripe, but it's not a huge one. Also, the boss gauntlet is just, once you're at a good enough level, talk to the research dude, and he will send you back to the goddamn lighthouses where you will refight the 3 main bosses, but they're amped up. So, people who do boss rushes, good fucking luck. Number 1 and 2 were a little easier. It's the third one that's going to really get ya. What else do I need to talk about? I talked about the battle, the graphic, the look of the game, characters. I'm not going to go so far into that, or story-wise. Yeah, I talked about the bosses. Like, all of them are uniquely designed. You never feel like you're fighting the same thing twice. Unless, like, it's the late game and you literally are fighting the same thing twice. But, in the one of the levels where we find out, Bowser's minions are around, they managed to do something so idiotic, so stupid. So, we're fighting the Paratrooper Squad and the Goomba Squad, and we have to kill every single one of them at once, or else they'll spawn more with that are at full health. Who in their mind would put this mother... This fight had me swearing to no extent. Because you have to defeat all the Goombas at once, or get them all to moderately low health, but it's so hard to pinpoint how much damage you're going to do, or they'll bring in reinforcements consistently. And then the paratroopers come in, and they do the exact same thing. And it's not like in Dream Team, where the Horde bosses can be easily dispatched with the Luigi Nair attacks and everything, you know, that, or like your hammer and your jump abilities are increased with the Luigi Nair copies, right? No. And what's fucked up about this is, it's not even a boss fight. This is an enemy fight. Because when I was trying to find new... I really should have waited for worst Mario bosses list. I really should have waited like a year. But the funny thing is, it's not even a boss fight. So it's the one thing that fucked me over, and I hated with a passion. So for any of you who are gonna get pissed off, I don't know how people figured it out in the first go. It took me a good couple of tries because I kept dying, not because I was underleveled, but because I was overwhelmed by doing it non-stop. I had a clicker for every time they refilled the gaps. About over 9 times in a single fight each. It's one of those things where in a great game, there's bound to be something stupid in it. And this was that. Let's see. So, overall, the game, doing everything. Doing all the side missions, as well as the whole game. And I don't say collectibles, but those reformations I mentioned, doing all of... Also, one thing I don't really understand in this game is sometimes there are choices that you can do, and sometimes it doesn't feel like they have a huge purpose outside of like the illusion of choice. Although the one where you gotta pick between Luigi and Peach to go be a captive, Luigi being gone does hinder you in the beginning before you reunite with him, but at the same time, it's not that too big of an issue. And again, like I said, everything else in this game, doing everything takes about 50.5 hours. And if you suck at the boss fights, it's going to be a little longer. The first Bowser fight, you guys better get ready. The story is overall over 40 hours. And you know what? Everything I've said about the Mario and Luigi series, like I said, it just gets better and better and better and better, and then worse, and then we are reunited with a series that I love. It's one of my favorite Mario games. I don't really go for the open world ones, except for Galaxy and Galaxy 2. That was it for me. I didn't play Odyssey. It just takes away from me, like, the enjoyment. And this took what Odyssey did by bringing Mario to new worlds and amped it up into a singular setting. So, I got... Who made this? Does it say? I mean, I know Nintendo did. Unreal Engine. Guys? Oh! Before I forget, the puzzles in this game are some of the best in the series. And some of them are a little annoying, but again, some of them are going to be. But the ice level, best ice puzzle in gaming history. Not over exaggerating. Best ice puzzle history. And again, all the other puzzles just add to this game. I mean, I know, like, it's not a puzzle game, but in order to get past some things, you gotta do a couple puzzles, and some of them are really fun to really hard. And it's not a huge leap all the time. Like, it slowly eases you there. So it's not like difficulty spike 101. That's the rebosses that you fight in the towers again. And despite my one gripe of that fucking fight, in my opinion, we were saved. Mario and Luigi fans were saved. And this is what happens when the people decide, you know what? It's been years since they shut down. Let's bring them back. And if this is the return, I hope in the next 2-3 years, I'm still going to be in my 30s, but I look forward to a brand new, amazing adventure we will get from the Plumbers. And again, in my personal opinion, there is nothing that I do a lot of that's absolute perfection. I'm like Angry Joe in this aspect. When I give a really good rating, it's because it's not a perfect game, like he says. It's a game that is highly recommended. And in queuing with that nature, GamerK's final verdict for Mario and Luigi Brothership is an absolute 10 out of 10. This game, by any Mario and Luigi fan, or any Mario fan in general, needs to play it. It brings us back to what we've been missing for 11 years. Yeah, because I subtracted, a decade, basically. Which is ironic, because I just gave it a 10 out of 10. This game, again, I know I'm rambling, but this game needs to be played by fans. And ignore all the negativity that one review that obviously was BS. I play Mario and Luigi Brothership. It is a game that, again, it brings back what we've been missing. Fun adventure, great characters, amazing premise and setting, with a story that is so kind of childish in the beginning, but then it goes absolute nuts burgers crazy near the end, with a lot of heartfelt moments. It takes everything great from the other games. Okay, we got Bowser Jr. in it, so it takes from that and corrals it into something that is perfect. That's all I got to say about it. And that's it for this video, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining in. What do you guys think about my review? Am I being over dramatic? Am I being not dramatic enough? And that's it for March. Like, comment, subscribe down below, and join me next month, where it's April. So I'm wondering what I'm going to do for this. Was there something there? Okay, I'm starting to feel like this is foreshadowing something, and I'm not really good at those. Well, join me next month, ladies and gentlemen, where hopefully the first video won't make me out to be a fool of some kind. This is GamerK, logging out.